Oh my god, hey, my name is Mickey Joe. I'm a theatre critic and social media content creator, and I'm here this evening at the Ambassadors Theatre in the West End to host a talkback at the Olivier Award-winning new musical, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. We're going to be chatting with the award-winning writers Jethro Compton and Darren Clark. Here's what is going to happen. Hello everybody. How are we doing? Who needs tissues? Are we all okay? So, please join me in welcoming the Olivier Award-winning minds behind The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Jethro Compton and Darren Clark. Well, here, how exciting. So first of all, congratulations to both of you after the Olivier Awards. Lovely to watch from afar. I do have to ask if there's any possible expansion on the now iconic, I haven't written a speech because I'm from New Zealand.
Yeah, no, there isn't. There isn't because I'm from New Zealand. We don't do expansions.
Fine. What else did we expect? What is the prevailing memory of that day at this point?
Oh God, it's not my environment, that sort of thing. All those people, all that noise, it was a blur, and I was relieved when it was over. Very grateful, of course, but relieved to just go home.
I was, there were many, but one particular was seeing Jethro's face on a stick before because they put people's faces on sticks where you're meant to sit, and I walked into the auditorium and there was just Jethro's face on a stick. Next to it was my face. It was quite surreal.
Did you get to keep the faces on the sticks afterwards?
I did not take the stick.
Amazing. Now, as everyone at this point now knows, the musical version of The Curious Case of Benjamin Button transplants the concept of the story to your native Cornwall. I've always been very curious, what sparked the idea for you to do that? What sort of birthed that in your mind?
I knew I wanted to make a musical, and I knew I wanted to set it at Cornwall, and I sort of had this image of what you see here in my head of a Cornish harborside, and I knew it would be actor-musician, but I didn't know what the story was or the plot or anything. And I was researching stories that had recently come to public domain and looking for something that had a recognisable title that might make settings tickets a little bit easier to use on the fringe, and discovered Benjamin Button. I thought, that'd be a great show. And for it was maybe 3 or 4 months that there was 2 separate projects until I realised actually I could just use the story of Benjamin Button, put that into this untitled Cornish musical setting.
And Darren, you've told me this before, but I'd love to share it with everyone here, how you approach musicalising the idea of time without the concept of clocks and ticking and metronomes and meters.
It was... Sitting in the harbourside was just such a joy for me to work with, because it was all, the tides and the waxing, waning of the moon and the way that people used to keep time. Yes, so it was a real joy to use that as a basis for all of the music. It sort of meant it's less mechanical and more sort of washing, has a washing quality. A cleaning quality. So it was that really, yeah.
Jethro, you wear a lot of different hats creatively on this show, co-writer, director, and set designer, which is sort of not often something that comes into that conversation as well. And when we got to briefly stop by the rehearsals, something I noticed is there was like this grid system for the way you were staging the show. It was like, right at this point, at the end of this number, you're going to pick up the barrel, and the barrel goes to like G4, and that happens over here. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I'm very anal. John DeGleesh is just snapping upstairs. I'm not, I suppose I am a creative person, but I'm more of a technical person. Today, I have to apologise. I thought I packed some spare clothes, but I left them in my office, so I'm dressed like this because today I was building a set for a different show. I do lots of different things, and I approach everything, I suppose, from a relatively rigid, regimental sort of way, and I like the science behind things, and I love plans. I love everything being laid out and neat and organised. And that grid is still here. You probably can't see it in the auditorium, but down there, and there are little LED lights that mark, so you've got the green center line, and then those mark the 1 meter grids, so that everyone can align to those as they did in the rehearsal room.
And obviously, when there's very bright floodlights in your face and you're playing an instrument on stage and choreographing around, those tiny little LEDs are very easy to see.
They were originally put there well, they're surprisingly good. Particularly, this is not normally quite this bright, but they were also a safety reason to stop people falling off the front, because it's pretty wonky.
Sure, important. Obviously, a huge part of the show's brilliance and charm and identity is the actor-musicianship, and the sound of it is so brilliant, in the instrumentation and all of the orchestrations, which of course you also won another Olivier Award for just recently. But something very interesting is, in a normal show, if someone's out ill, someone would, perhaps from the ensemble, understudy that role. And in the world of Benjamin Button, because they're playing instruments, everything changes a little bit. So I gather the show that happened tonight perhaps was the first time this was like a new configuration of it.
Yeah, that had never been done before this evening.
It's like that most weeks. Every week there are multiple versions of the show.
How many different possibilities are there?
I see a thing. I feel like there's been probably, I mean, John would probably know better, but I think there's been probably upwards of 50 different shows so far, 50 different types of shows so far. But I think the possibilities are about 300, close to 300 different shows that people could see.
So if you've seen it a handful of times and you haven't yet seen 300 different performances, reason enough to come back, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, what they do every night and every day, these guys work so hard. Like they're in doing cut sheets and making sure that all the lines are going to be covered, and then making sure all the instruments are going to be covered. Tonight there were 3 people not on who are usually part of it, and so everything was being divvied up between everybody in the sound department, are working really hard to make sure they cover all the lines and pick up all the right instruments, even though they're all changed. It really is. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and I'm so glad I have nothing to do with it. Because I think it would kill me. I suppose probably, but...
Yeah, I try to avoid getting involved with it as well. We've made this difficult.
It's very difficult. We promise we won't make another one quite so difficult.
Now, on the show's lifetime, there's been quite a lot of development from the original version that was first performed, and it's really expanded to this bigger thing now with a bigger cast. Had you any sense of what the show was eventually going to become, and could you have conceived of the fan response that there's been as well?
No, not really. My plan was to just make it, get it on at Southwark Playhouse, and then sell the licensing rights to a US company, so we could just make some passive income and just sit back and enjoy our lives a bit. I knew it would have success in the licensing, but obviously where the show's grown to now means that it will have a much better chance of being successful around the world. But I mean, I've been producing fringe shows for years at that point, and you always hope that maybe someone will come in and there'll be an amazing audience reaction and you'll sell out, and there'll be a load of West End producers who are desperate to throw money at it, and it never happens. I think by that point I'd just given up on any of that those sort of fantasies. So the fact that it then did sell out, loads of people just fell in love with it, including the industry and the commercial sort of sector fell in love with it, was very surprising. Very, very surprising. I'm thrilled. It's incredible. It's been an amazing journey. And it feels, I mean, you might feel differently, but it feels like it belongs in this theatre. It feels perfect in this space.
Is there a name for the Benjamin Button Phantom? There's many names. Lydia's nodding at me.
The regulars.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's nicer than the pickled crabs. Thanks. That's probably a little bit better. We're very happy to hear from you. I'm going to pass this down into the audience. Does anyone immediately have a question and want to kick us off? Lydia, okay, we can get this. I was told to just pass this down.
The front foot of the stage is not load bearing, so don't expect Wish I was joking.
Hi, my name's Lydia. I think this was my 14th time for the show tonight. Thank you for ruining. It means a lot to me, so I just want to say thank you first and foremost. But I'd really like to know more about the casting process for this show. Did you kind of write the orchestrations and then find the people who played as many instruments as humanly possible? Or were like tweaks still being made when you had the cast and you were making tweaks and stuff?
I think Darren can explain more about the orchestration process, but it was very much about finding the right people and we talk about people that are button, people that aren't button. And because we've done the show 3 times now, we get a sense of who's the right kind of soul to come and join in this company. John Dalglish, unfortunately, is not the right. Just an awful human being. He's so tall. Always too tall. So it was very much about finding the right ensemble, and then on the. What'd you say? Keep it fit on stage. And then in terms of the music, I'll let Darren speak.
I'm trying to remember. It was quite traumatic. So I think we knew the sound that we wanted it to be. We knew the sound it wanted it to be, and we knew what sort of instruments would be required to make that sound. So it was a matter of knowing which instruments we needed, and then knowing that Jethro that we wanted button people, these lovely souls. So it was a mixture of that, and it took a long time. A very, very long time to find those people. But I'm very glad we took that time to do it.
Hi, I'm Becky. My question was kind of, particularly within their villager roles, as I think they know, you've got a lot of kind of people playing like gender bent roles. Was that kind of something you always wanted to do with people playing kind of different genders, particularly with like Mr. and Mrs. Gladstone's Bastard's sister? Was that something you always wanted, or was that something that kind of just came about with who you had?
It was something we talked a lot about in terms of how we wanted the ensemble to be, and because it's a storytelling show, essentially, the idea from the very beginning is that anyone can really play any role, regardless of gender or race, and there are restrictions within that in terms of the vocal ranges that people might be able to achieve. There are certain songs that need to be sung in certain places, but it was always part of the concept that it should feel like a group of people that come together to tell this story, and it doesn't matter who they are, what they look like, whether they're really ridiculously tall. So it was at Burns, is Matthew Burns, officially Matthew Burns has joined Mr. Dalglish up there as well.
It was terrible.
And have I answered the question? Did that make sense?
That answered it.
Great. I got distracted by those yours.
I think just one other thing with that, I think because it started as a cast of 5, it was just absolutely necessary that we had to, and I think it sort of lent itself to the storytelling world, because if anyone can be anyone, then the lovely John Dalglish can be 70, and he can be 20, and you buy into it, and so I think that actually ended up helping us probably quite a lot.
So I think it took me about 3 or 4 visits to catch most of the words in some of the songs, and sitting up front helped. So is there any plans or ideas on the full cast album? What's better?
There will be a cast album very soon. We were hoping to be able to share some more specifics with you this evening, but because it's a really long bank holiday weekend, we weren't able to just get everything quite as aligned as we'd like. It has been recorded. It is in the final stages of the mixing mastering, and we'll not have to wait much longer. And it will stop being asked every day. The incredible front of house team here, the ambassadors, will not have to field that question. And they'll never want to hear the words Carl's Howell.
Who's got another question?
Love the show, it's fantastic. We're, my family and I, are big fans of the musical Come From Away, and as soon as it started, I felt, it's really quite similar in aspects, and I just wondered if that was coincidental or whether you're fans of it as well, and there was some influence there.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Come From Away. I absolutely adored it. I think that, in a way, I think a lot of what you're seeing here probably owes more to a company like Knee-High Theatre, who were a Cornish theatre company that was the very first theatre company I saw making work and grew up watching their work. And it is that sort of fundamental storytelling theatre, which Come From Away is also storytelling theatre. It also has had a sort of folk infused soundtrack. Interestingly, I was listening a lot back when we were first writing before Southwark, and I was getting the bus for about an hour to your flat to write on the floor because you sold all your furniture. He was in the process of moving house, so we sit on the floor and write. And it would take about an hour, and I'd listen to the Come From Away soundtrack on that bus ride, and I saw Come From Away. The first time I listened to it 1,000 times. The first time I saw it was the weekend before we started rehearsals, the first time we made the show. So, it was there just before I started rehearsals, but a lot of stuff was already planned. So it definitely infused, infused, one was on that novel T. It definitely made an impact on show. I hope it doesn't feel like we've just ripped it off.
It definitely has a DNA, I think. The screech out that they play at the end of Come From Away certainly helped us, or it helps me think about what's the feeling we want people to leave with, like. And so to do a song which is like, just a tub thumper at the end to make sure people leave.
Did you say that again?
Tub thumper. Have you heard of that? No, it's a tub thumper. So I think, because I saw it as well, and I absolutely love it. I listen to the cast album all the time, and that has it's certainly influenced the mixing process of the Button album, which I've been involved with now for quite a while. So we want the power that they got into that recording, and the all-encompassing sound of it. That's what we wanted for Button. So we're still working on that. We'll get there.
No one asked me the answer to this question, but I'm going to jump in on it as well. Having been to Cornwall a lot and having also been to Gander and experienced kind of both of those communities, there is also a lot of a kinship sort of between the two places, even though they're as far apart as they are. And they're both shows that really authentically and beautifully capture that sense of community from there as well. So I think that goes a lot of the way to answer some of that closeness between the two. Who has another question here in the stalls?
I absolutely love the show. My sister's seen it about 5 times, and this was my first. I'll definitely be back, but it's not really about the show. I just want to know what beer you're drinking.
That is a pint of Sonostal Ale, proper job, which we sing about the show. What we say proper job, but that's an expression. The beer is named after the expression, which we use in Cornwall, but we sing our sweet Sonostal Ale quite a lot in the show. They haven't sponsored us. I wanted a lifetime supply of Sonostal Ale, but we're still working on it.
That's actually how I sold the musical to Lloyd Allen. Every time I come and see it, I feel like I notice something different in the music. And I just wondered if there was a favourite piece of orchestration or music that really speaks to you at different times.
There's different things, different things every time. I think I always love the bit in Little Life where John's shoulder started.
Yes.
There's just such sort of joy and sunshine in that.
You've asked him to stop doing it,
But he won't. But I think that's one of the lovely things about it for me, is every time I come, it's something different. that I remember or notice, or that the guys play differently, or because they're such a reactive group. It's different musically every night, so it's a real joy to come and watch, and just hear the music in a different sort of different light every time. You, Jethro?
I love the music that is the music of home that is used in the Little Did He Know, the return of the bottle and into through all of that. I just that bit, I can never get bored of hearing that. I think it's just thrilling to me. But I agree that I think what is incredible about, which I think is a testament to your songwriting, also to the way that shows put together every night. And he won't enjoy this, but Matthew Burns is not only so he is also our resident musical director, and he's involved in making sure that we have a show every night that actually has the music in it, which is a lot of work. And I do think that coming in, hearing it, and sometimes when you saw it tonight, and Marcus was in the show and plays a lot of brass. When she's not here, we don't have as much brass. Sometimes we don't have any brass at all. And you hear then very, very different details to the music, and that will be covered by different instruments, and it just has a very different feel and flavour, but always the music at the heart of it, and what the music that Darren has written always really resonates in a really powerful way. I think it's incredible that it can sound so different every night and yet still be as moving and meaningful.
Thanks, Jethro.
Say nice things about it so easily. That's why it
Brings me very neatly to our final, very quick question, which is, this has been such a big part of both of your professional lives for years now. Has there been any thought about having a second musical baby together?
Darren, we're actually in breach of a restraining order right now. Normally, I got allowed with the 50 close. It's, yeah.
There was a time very recently that Jethro swore to God he would never ever write another musical ever again. Not just with me, with anyone.
I think I actually said I'd never go in theatre,
Yes, yes, he was going to take up the carpenter and move away and live by the sea, and that was it. But we have talked about things, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We're not working on anything anymore. This is still has been a huge journey, and it will take a little bit of time to recover from that journey. And also, it's still a huge amount of work all the time with this show to keep it alive and as strong as it can be in the West End, and also to think about the future of this show, which, if you'd asked me 6 years ago, the West End seemed like the biggest future that there could be, and it's the most important future. But there is a whole world out there, and we're exploring those avenues as well. And so once we've done all that, then we'll get the rights to some trashy 90s, write some cheesy songs, and everyone will be happy. And then we'll really be able to retire.
Well, with all that to look forward to, thank you both so much for answering everyone's questions this evening. Thank you all. Ask a question, head over to the Benjamin Button socials and ask it over there, find out more about the show, and keep coming back. And thank you for supporting new British musical theatre. Thank you so much for watching this. Let me know in the comments if you were there for it in person. Let me know if you've seen the show before, how many times you've seen the show, and let me know which other shows you might like me to do a talk back at next. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. Go book tickets to The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!